Alright, welcome to another video, or if you're new here, my name is Eamon. In this video, I'm going to be talking about how to set your Google Ads budget. First, I'm going to show you how to set it from inside the account. Then I'm going to talk about a few things that you need to keep in mind while you're setting it, and just in general when you want to scale your campaigns, or maybe you might even want to decrease the budget, maybe around holiday times. So, first, how to actually set the budget. Go into your Google Ads account, okay, and then go to the wrench icon here, Tools and Settings, and then press Keyword Planner. All right, now click Discover New Keywords and select your location first of all before you type anything, and try to be as precise as possible. So more precise than just the state. Maybe add in a few cities that you actually serve, because what's going to happen is that you want to get the keywords that you want to target. You want to find out how much they're going for, how much clicks on them are going for. And it obviously differs from place to place. It differs, the competition is different, across the whole state might be higher or lower, usually higher than the specific city that you serve. So make sure you get that right. So let's just say I'm going to choose one state. Okay. And then put in your main keywords. So this is kind of similar to my how to actually find the keywords video, how to find the keywords that you want to target. So let's say you start with painter near me. All right, then hit comma, space, interior painting. All right, so that's it. Basically just choose like the three most common things that people are probably searching. So one of them is a general search, painter near me. Then the other one is for two specific services. These are probably going to be more common than people wanting to paint their cabinets. So interior and exterior, and then press get results. Like I said, make sure you actually select the area that you want to run the ads in. It's really important. All right, so these are the words that I provided. So you can see the average monthly searches on them. I talked about the significance of this in the keywords video, but you can see here at the 3-month change, there's a 247% increase in the year-on-year change. These are just good things to keep in mind. It means that there's a lot of search volume for these words. That's probably why you want to target them in the first place. But here in these columns, you've got the top of page bid. This is the low range, and this is the high range. Interior painting company. All right, there's not much data for that one. Let me change that search. All right, I basically just made it the same as exterior, just near me. All right, so you can see there's plenty of good searches on these. And now you want to look at the top of page bid, the low range, and the high range. Okay, so you can see here it's about $6 to 26. This one is 4.6 to 28. This one is 4.4 to 25.65. Don't worry too much about these. You're not actually going to be paying this much for a click. It's not going to be 100% accurate. The only way to know is to actually start running the ads. But it basically just gives you an idea. So you can see here the maximum. Let's say if you set your page bids, your keyword bids at 28.3, for example, you're going to be able to compete for all of these. Just that's as the maximum, okay? Like I said, most of your clicks are going to be way less than that. Let's say you set that as the maximum. You'll be able to compete in all the auctions for that word in that area, okay? So here's what you do. You've got that number, let's say 28.3. I just chose that because it's a little higher than 28.18. So 28.3, that's the cost per click. What you want to do is you want to multiply that by at least 4, okay? Ideally more, maybe like 5, 6, and that'll give you your daily budget, okay? So 28.3 times 4, let's say 5, just for this example. So that comes out to about 141.5, okay? So that'll be your daily budget. Now, you're most likely going to be running the ads 5 days a week. So multiply that by 5. So this is your weekly budget. Now you're going to be running 4 weeks out of the month. Now, obviously that's 28 days. It's not 100% right, but it's close enough. So that gets you a budget of about 2,830. Okay, so that's a pretty good starting budget. Like I said, all I did is I took this like the maximum number that I saw, okay, for all these searches. Then I multiplied it by 5. Now this depends on you, okay? You can multiply it by 4 or 5, but the point is you want that ratio to be as big as possible between your cost per click and your daily budget. All right, I'd say a minimum of 4. So you can multiply that by 4, and then multiply it by 5 to get it for 5 days. Multiply it by 4 again, because it's 4 weeks in a month. and that'll be your monthly budget. Now, here's the thing with Google. Let me just go to the document because this is what I want to talk about. This budget, it's monthly, okay? It's not actually daily, even though when you set it in Google, it's going to say this is your daily budget. So for example, maybe you chose $100, okay? Multiplied it by 5 days, multiply it by 4 weeks in a month, and you got a $2,000 budget. Now, Google may over or underspend on certain days, depending on that specific day. If it thinks it can get you more clicks and more leads on certain days than others, if it decides to bid more for certain searches, then that's what it's going to do. So it might overspend on the days, but it's not going to overspend your monthly budget. So don't freak out if that happens, because it might overspend more than $100 on a certain day. But that's because it thinks that it can get you more clicks and more leads, depending on how you set up the campaign, and your conversion tracking and the kind of leads that you're going after. So it's going to bid more for those searches if it thinks it can get you more for your budget. But like I said, you won't overspend the monthly budget. Now there's some other things to keep in mind. All right, now first of all, you want to make sure that your budget is big enough to actually get results. Not so small that it's going to take a long time to optimize and prolong the learning period. And during that time, it's going to be an incredibly frustrating experience, trust me. You're going to be paying high cost per clicks and obviously high cost per lead as well, because it's all a domino effect. If you're paying a lot per click, you're going to be paying a lot per lead, per conversion. So that's why you want it to be big enough to get results, because Google needs data to optimize. And the more data is coming through the account, so the more clicks that are coming in, because your budget is big enough to get those clicks, the more it'll be able to optimize and eventually exit the learning period, which is usually about 30 to 90 days, let's say 60, okay? That's what it is most of the time. But sometimes it can be 30, that's if you have a huge budget, okay? But usually 60 to 90 days, most campaigns exit the learning period. And if you've been doing everything correctly, then you'll have gotten a cost per click that you're happy with and a cost per lead that you're happy with. So that's why you want it to be big enough. Otherwise, if it's slow, that's going to take a very long time to optimize. And like I said, it's going to be an incredibly frustrating experience. Think of it like trying to get somewhere and like in a car, and every so often you keep on hitting the brakes. So you drive for a bit and you hit the brakes. Now, sure, you're going to get there eventually, but it's incredibly frustrating. It's going to take a lot longer than it needs to. So that's why you want it to be big enough to get results. So like I said, that ratio between your cost per click to the daily budget, try to have that as big as possible. Minimum 4 times. That's why I said a minimum multiply it by 4, but ideally even more than 4. The second thing to keep in mind is that you want to commit to 90 days. Again, this is just about wanting to exit the learning period and finally being able to judge on whether this campaign is going to be successful or not, okay? Because you'll have gotten your cost per click and your cost per lead where you want them. And the third thing, like I said, is that it's monthly, not daily. And the fourth thing is you want to be able to scale your campaigns once you're happy with the metrics. Like I said, cost per lead where you want it, conversion rate where you want it, you're happy with how much you're paying. It seems like it's in line with industry standards. You're not overpaying. And also the quality. So you've been making optimizations and things like that. And so yeah, once you're happy with your metrics and you have search impression share to claim, which is basically market share. So search impression share, it's a number given as a percentage. Basically, it means the number of searches that your ad could appear for, okay? Not necessarily the ones that you want it to appear for, but how many searches it appears for out of 100. So if you've got a search impression share of 20%, you're appearing for 20 out of 100 searches that you could appear for. Now, the reason I'm saying it's not 100% isn't all the searches that you want to appear for is because let's say you scale past 65 to 80%. What happens most of the time is that you see diminishing returns after that. So what happens is, so I saw this really good diagram. I'll show you a picture of it. It'll show you what I'm trying to explain. But basically the idea is that anything more than 65 to 80%, I know this depends on your market. There's only one way to find out, which is to actually scale your campaigns that far. What happens is that Google is going to start bidding for these less relevant keywords that, like I said, your ads could appear for. So it's going to be a little less relevant, a little lower quality leads. And, maybe some people are going to start, skipping through your ad. They're not even going to click on it in the first place. So your click-through rates might go down. And because it's less relevant searches, these aren't people that are going to convert. So your conversion rates might go down, and your quality score is going to go down. You might start paying more for clicks as well. So that's why you need to find the sweet spot. So after you scale and you start seeing diminishing returns, you can just scale back down. And here's the important thing about scaling. You don't want to increase or decrease by more than 20% of your budget at a time. Okay? Now I recommend just 15% just to be conservative and just to be 100% on the safe side. The reason that you don't want to increase your budget by a crazy amount, you don't want to double it overnight, is what's going to happen is that that's going to shock the algorithm and your campaign is going to go back into learning mode. It's going to enter the learning phase again, which you already went through at the beginning. Okay? That period where, you had to be patient and wait for results to come in until you saw the metrics that you wanted. That's going to happen again, but this time your budget is so much bigger. So it's going to be a lot more frustrating to wait, especially when you had been getting such good results before, which is why you wanted to scale in the first place. Really keep this in mind. Don't just double your budget overnight. And same thing with wanting to decrease your budget. So maybe, holiday times are coming up. Christmas, New Year's, you're not open, but you don't want to pause your campaigns altogether. You can scale them down, but again, no more than 20% at a time. So let's say you decrease it by 15%. Wait about 3 to 5 days, okay? Make sure your metrics are where you want them so that everything is proportional to where it was. So if you decreased it by 15%, yeah, your leads are going to decrease, but as long as you're paying the exact same just for a lower number of leads, because now you got a smaller budget to work with, then that's fine. And then once that happens, you can scale down again and get it to where you want it. Then, let's say the holidays are done or whatever, maybe it's seasonal reasons, then you can scale back up again slowly. All right, I think that's pretty much it. I've covered everything I wanted to cover. Make sure you keep all these things in mind. And like I said, when you're setting the budget in the first place, make sure you set it to the location that you're actually running ads in. Don't go off the numbers that you get for the whole state or the whole area that you're in if you don't actually serve that area. All right, that's pretty much everything I wanted to cover. If you have any questions, you can leave them in the comments and I'll get back to you. And if you're interested in Google Ads Management Services, you want someone to take care of all this stuff for you, then go to my website in the pinned comment below and just read through it. And if you think you're going to be a good fit, then book a time on my calendar and we'll have a talk, see if we can work together. But other than that, find this useful and I'll see you in the next one.